local government and elections and pensions will come to order. We are going to begin as a subcommittee to hear some House bills to begin with, and then when we get the fifth person here, we're going to take a break and go into executive session to vote on Senate Bill 810. So with that, Senator McGirl, we talk representative. Don't I do that too often? Yeah, I told somebody today, do not call me Senator on the phone. That really irritates me if you don't know my name. So right before you get started, we're going to exec the bill. Matt, would you please call the roll?
Senators Black.
Here.
Henderson. Here. Beck. Bratton. Berger. Here. Crawford. Here. Nicola. Here. Nuremberg.
We do have a quorum. I move that we go into executive session. Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed, same sign. We are in executive session. I now move to bring up Senate Bill 810. Do I have a second? Second. I have a second. Is there any discussion about Senate Bill 810? I think we heard this, 1 or 2 weeks ago, if I remember correctly. Any senator, any discussion? None. I move that we do pass Senate Bill 810. Do I have a second? I have a second. Matt, would you please call the roll?
Senators Black.
Aye.
Henderson.
Aye.
Beck. Bratton. Berger.
Aye.
Crawford.
Aye.
Nicola.
Aye.
Nuremberg. 6-0 Nuremberg.
By your vote of 6-0, Senator Nuremberg left her vote. You have due pass Senate Bill 810. Thank you, committee. I move that we leave executive session, return to open session. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed, same sign. We are out of executive session. Thank you, Representative McGirl. Please begin on House Bill 44.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. My name for the record is Mike McGirl, representative for District 118, covers northern Washington County and southern Franklin County. What I have is a private pension bill, and I'll just kind of give some of the detail here. The bill increases the maximum amount to be subtracted from the taxpayer's adjusted gross income for tax years beginning after January of 26. It would be $12,000 on a married filing joint. And for simplicity purpose, I'm going to keep everything as the one filing status, married filing joint. You also have head of household or single, which have different numbers, but just to keep it simple, because currently that deduction is $6,000. Now, the limits on the, so that would make it, and what it does, it expands the threshold. Right now, on a married filing joint threshold, it's $32,000. If you exceed $32,000, you get none of the $6,000 that's in the statute, in the Missouri statutes presently. What I do is expand that to $64,000, that threshold, and increase the deduction to $12,000. Okay, and to give it a little background on this is whenever we passed Senate Bill 190 a couple of years ago, we removed the thresholds for public pensions. That was $100,000 for married filing joint, or it was $85,000 for a single return. So, and what this bill would do, it would allow someone who makes a married filing joint couple, and they both say have a pension, a private pension, or self-employed individual, because we didn't do anything whenever we passed Senate Bill 190, and it was passed by a great majority. It was 33-1 in the Senate, and it was 154-2 in the House when we passed it to give basically ourselves, we give public pensions a break. And so consequently, you know, our lunchbox people or people that work, may have a pension in their, at where they work, or a 401k, because most pensions now are defined contribution plans. They're not defined benefit plans like some of the more public pensions are. So what it will do is it will give a deduction up to $46,381. Now, that's the max Social Security when you become eligible at your 67 point whatever months. So just to have a few examples here, because this benefit does not benefit wealthy individuals. Because once your income, whereas with the public pension, you get the $46,381 no matter what. Even if your income, no matter what your income, you can get up to that deduction, that Social Security amount, max Social Security. So just to kind of give a few examples with my bill, what it would do. Say you had $30,000 of Social Security, which is tax exempt under the state, and you had a private pension of $20,000. That's $50,000. Well, the most you could get for a deduction under my bill would be the $30,000 Social Security. That would come first, and then $12,000 from the private pension. On a married, again, everything is married filing joint that I'm using here. So that would be $42,000 would be the total deduction. Just another example, if you get $40,000 of Social Security, say, and this is taxable Social Security, and say $30,000 of private pension, that's $70,000. The only deduction you're going to get is the $40,000 for the Social Security. Or if you get, say, $40,000 in Social Security and a $20,000 pension, that's $60,000. The most you would get would be the $40,000 for the Social Security, and then $6,381 for the private pension. Because again, you can't exceed the threshold of $46,381. And so, to me, this is a fairness issue. We give ourselves a break, but you know, the individuals that carry the lunchbox, or they're self-employed, like I said, they may have a 401k at their work, or you know, even a 403b, whatever, the simples or SEPs. This would just allow these individuals to get some tax break for their private pension that they have either earned or they've saved for. With that, I'll take any questions.
Any questions? Senator Byrd.
Thank you for bringing this forward. What about if you had someone that's drawn Social Security, a private pension, and a public pension? How would that work?
What would happen, Social Security is first. The public pension is second because there's no exclusion. There's no limitation on the public pension. So again, because usually if you have, particularly educators or from education, they don't have a large Social Security check. So just for simple purposes, say they draw $10,000 Social Security, but they draw a $50,000 public retirement from the teachers. They're capped $46,381. They would get no deduction for the private. But again, they're limited. It's limited to $46,381 for 24. Of course, it will be indexed in 25 for the amount of increase in Social Security.
But if you have somebody drawing all three of those already, is there any?
No, there's only the limit, but the pecking order is Social Security, public pension, private pension.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you. Is anyone here to testify in favor of House Bill 426? Anyone testify in opposition? Anyone for informational purposes only? Any closing comment, Representative McGirl?
Thank you for hearing my bill, and I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Okay, now we're going to hear House Bill 199, sponsored by Representative Falkner. Please begin when you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. My name is Bill Falkner. I represent the 10th District, which is North St. Joseph. House Bill 199 is kind of a simple bill, but it's on a complicated matter. Chapter 100 bonds, if you have a business coming into your community or expanding in your community, a lot of times they'll use the Chapter 100 bonds or other type of methods, but what they do is they give the ownership of the property to the municipality. Well, municipality does not pay property tax. So in lieu of property tax, they pay bond payments. That usually it's a business that is expanding or coming in, buys their own bonds, but they pay the bond payments in lieu of property tax. And they can go over a period of 10 or 15 years, and they come in increments. The first 5 years, maybe 30%. They're only going to pay 30% of what they would have been paying in property tax. And so the problem that we ran into is contractors couldn't file mechanic liens against property owned by municipalities. So I think it was 17 or 18, they passed a payment bond. So all projects had to take out these payment bonds. And so these payment bonds had become very expensive. And so what this bill does is it just gives this an option of they can either take out the payment bond or they can open themselves up for a mechanic's lien. And that is just simply what 199 does.
Thank you. You did a good job of simplifying it. We just don't know whether to trust you, Falkner. You are from North End St. Joe, buddy.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry about that. Hope that wasn't caught on microphone. Does any senator have any questions? Oh, I think everybody understands. Anyone testify in favor, please come forward. Is anybody going to testify in favor?
Just argue who's going to go first.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Richard Sheets. I'm the Executive Director of the Missouri Municipal League. We will go on record in support of House Bill 199, and I think it just simplifies it and really helps on these projects that are originally financed through these tax exempt bonds, but are really a private and economic development project, and helps in securing those work that's done on those projects. So I'll try to answer any questions that I can.
Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Sheet. Anyone else testify in favor, please come forward.
Always like to have the younger ones go first. Randy Scher, representing the Missouri Economic Development Financing Association. We're a statewide association of economic development councils and cities and counties that work on economic development projects. The sponsor did an excellent job explaining the bill. When we passed this originally, it was to take care of the contractors and subcontractors so that the providers of the labor and the materials got paid. Well, when that project was then a public project and not subject to lien, that started causing a problem. So what happened was we passed this statute to provide for the payment bond that they had to buy. What we found in the last couple of years, and our members have seen this happen twice in St. Louis, where the price of that what is now a mandatory bond has gone up so much. We had two big projects in the St. Louis area that were being developed, and when they got the bill, or looking at the bill or the cost of the payment bond at $1 million to $1.5 million, those people, they left the state. So what this does, it gives that political subdivision the option of either buying the bond or self-subjecting to the lien. So in this case, both the contractors and subcontractors, they are protected, but the municipality then can make that decision. We'll either buy the bond or we'll self-subject to liens.
Any questions? Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else testify in favor, please come forward.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, members of the committee. My name is Cade Tremaine. I'm here this afternoon on behalf of the Missouri Chamber of Commerce and Industry to testify in support of the bill. Simply put, we believe that Chapter 100 specifically supporting Chapter 100 means supporting the growth of industry in Missouri. So Chapter 100 makes municipalities more attractive overall and more practical overall for a business to grow roots in the community while improving its local economy at the same time. Whether that's a local ag business or maybe that is a distribution center, maybe it's a research facility, companies are laying their brick and mortar in these areas and they're creating jobs with Chapter 100. So not only does Chapter 100 incentivize a business from a location standpoint, this does create a chain reaction in communities where employment is increasing. So again, local spending increases too, depending on the type of business that this might be expanding. I think it's also worth noting that Chapter 100 bonds are consistently categorized as industrial development revenue bonds. So ultimately, this is allowing, of course, the businesses to expand without these major hardships. This is an industrial opportunity. This is an economic opportunity. Missouri Chamber is in full support of the bill. Happy to answer questions.
Thank you. Any questions of this witness? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else testify in favor, please come forward.
Good afternoon, Chairman and members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity this afternoon. My name is Luke Holtzsnyder. I serve as the president of the Jefferson City Regional Economic Partnership. We're a local economic development agency focused on generating jobs and economic activity right here in central Missouri. Here today, obviously, in support of House Bill 199. As I understand, this legislation would remove the requirement for payment bonds as part of Chapter 100 bonded projects in order to access the real estate property tax abatement. Sounds like a minor mechanical fix, but the real impact of that is truly measurable, as already mentioned. These payment bonds do come at a cost, and for companies considering large multi-million-dollar investments in the state of Missouri, we're always competing to be the most cost-effective location for that investment. In economic development, we have limited tools at the local level at our own discretion, and Chapter 100 is one of those key tools. In any way we can make it more efficient and ultimately more effective means more jobs and more investment in the state of Missouri. So I just want to go on record in support of this House Bill 199.
Any questions of this witness? Thank you very much. Anyone else in favor, please come forward.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, Mark Rhodes here, representing the St. Joseph Legislative Coalition, which includes the Chamber of Commerce, the city, and Buchanan County. We've worked very closely with the sponsor, and we thank him very, very much for bringing this forward. I'd like to go on record in support.
Thank you. Any questions? Thank you very much. Anyone else testify in favor? Anyone testify in opposition? Informational purposes only. Okay, Representative Falkner, any closing comments?
Well, thank you very much for hearing the bill. It passed out of the House 147-0.
Thank you. And so everybody listening in can figure out, you can tell them that I grew up in a suburb of North St. Joe and we were looked down upon even more. They can start figuring that out. Thank you. Next, House Bill 369. Representative Banderman, please come forward and begin when you're ready.
I'd like to thank the chairman for seeing the bill today, Vice Chair Senator Henderson, Senator Berger, Senator Nicola, and Senator Crawford. Thanks for being here today. I'm going to present House Bill 369. This bill has been carried by me for the last 3 years, has never received a no vote in committee or on the floor of the House. It did get brought through consent again this year, but I have given the chairman of this committee an adjustment to the bill that I'm hopeful that he would be willing to put on as a committee sub. House Bill 369 simply allows flexibility with the only political subdivision in the state of Missouri that has their fiscal year set by state statute. So the consolidated library districts of Missouri, and also one additional one in Kansas City, which is the urban consolidated library district in Kansas City. These two organizations have their fiscal year set by state statute from July 1st to June 30th. This would simply allow the Board of Trustees to set a different fiscal year if they so choose. If they don't, it'll go back to the way it is in state statute. They'll be bound by that July 1st to June 30th. This was brought to my attention by Steve Campbell, which is the director of the Consolidated Library District where I live, and his motivation in this was simply to save money because the fiscal year set by July 1st through June 20th, he wasn't able to use some of the money that he had in January to apply to some of the capital improvements. He had to wait till July, keep it in escrow. So this was a money-saving bill for me when I first got into the House, and with that, I'll take any questions.
Is there any questions for the representative? Seeing none. Is there anyone testify in favor of House Bill 369?
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Randy Scher, representing the Missouri Library Association. The sponsors given a great presentation on this. As he mentioned, there's a way to save some money here. The financial people within some of the consolidated libraries have said if we could start our fiscal year just as we receive our money, our tax money at the very end of the year, they could save some money. So that's what it's about. It's just saving money.
Okay. Any questions of this witness? None.
I would add that Senator Brown's bill was consent over here, and it's already on the consent calendar in the House. Same bill. So
Same bill.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else testify in favor? Opposition? Anyone testify in opposition? Informational purposes only. Representative Banderman, any closing comment?
Just like to thank the committee once again for hearing the bill. My bill, I'm hopeful that we can also include the urban library district. We're going to keep Senator Brown's bill left alone on the House side. We'll see if either one of them have a path this year to completion. But once again, thank you and good to see all of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, now we're going to go Representative McGaugh, House Bill 507.
Thank you, Committee Chair. I am Representative Peggy McGaugh. I represent the 7th District, that is Chillicothe area, Livingston, Carroll, Lynn, and a portion of Ray counties. A little bit about me is I served as the Carroll County Clerk and Election Authority for over 30 years, so I have an immense pride of any election bills and elections in general, and I am asked to carry the bills by the Association of County Clerks and Election Authorities, and the President is here and will be able to answer questions if I don't do a good job of presenting this bill. This bill is similar to the Senator from Dallas County, Senate Bill 182, that was voted out of this committee. And today, it has 7 provisions that we've worked on for several years, and 2 that were added this year in perfection in the House. Real quickly, the 7 provisions that we've worked on for many years include the transmitting of the filing notices by email, which is the way that most people correspond with each other. We have the local candidate filing dates need to change because they tend to fall on a holiday since they start in December. We need to move that deadline back. We want to service our military and interstate voters on Election Day in the offices. We need to provide confidentiality of the permanent absentee list because this is a vulnerable population. We want to be able to have provisional ballots be voted in any election. We want write-in candidate clarification so that the election authorities aren't required to count votes for Jesus Christ and Mickey Mouse. We have in this bill the protection of the election workers. Same as last year, it would be a Class 3 election offense, misdemeanors connected to the exercise of the right of suffrage. Now, the 2 changes not in the original bill that were added on the House floor were to have challengers physically present in the polling locations for the first-class counties. That statutory qualification will be present for the election authorities to be 5 p.m. on the Monday before the election so they can prepare for space for them. And also, we have a representative that added amendment that the City of St. Louis candidates would be required to pay their taxes, provide a copy of the paid tax receipts and the no tax due statement for those candidates in the City of St. Louis who previously had been afforded to not have to provide that information. And with that, that's a quick overview, and I would take any questions that anybody would have.
Any questions from anyone on the committee? Yes, Senator Henderson.
So what are we doing with election officials exactly? Is this similar to Senator Berger's bill on are we kind of creating a special class of something if you threaten an election official? You mentioned that briefly there.
I did mention that briefly. I believe that, well, Senator Berger left, so that's a little bit unfortunate in that I think this version is different in that it's less restrictive. It still protects the workers. You know, these issues have arisen here with the election authorities that they do feel harassed. And so, again, it would be a misdemeanor connected with the exercise of the right of suffrage.
I guess I get trying to protect them. I want to protect them too, but like I had my hospital come to me and say, we wish you would try to do that for nurses, and where do we stop protected classes? You know, because I think we have laws on the books if we just enforced them. And I'm not directing that at you. I'm trying to direct
Sure.
it that we have laws on the books that probably do most of this already if we just enforce them. Would you agree with that?
Well, I agree that I think there are 11 different areas in that misdemeanor section class 3 election offense, and this would just add those in addition to tighten that up. But I would leave it up to the committee as far as how many more they want to add to that. I appreciate the question.
I mean, I want to protect election officials. I want to protect nurses, but I also don't know if we keep creating more protected classes, if that really accomplishes, maybe it make us feel good, but I don't know if it really accomplishes what we want to do since we have laws already. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Senator Nicola.
Thank you, Representative. Appreciate it. And you're right, this has come up a couple times. I've opposed this part of the legislation. I would oppose this now. And I appreciate Senator Henderson to bring this up too. I think we need to be very, very careful about trampling on people's freedom of speech, especially in the area of elections. And just like Senator Henderson said too, I would oppose having special classes because we already have laws that would protect people for this. So I would like this whole section to be taken out before I would even consider this bill. And you said the president of the association is here?
She is, and
Okay.
she will be testifying.
Okay, great. So I can ask her some questions too. Thank you very much.
Any other questions from the committee? Seeing none. First witness testify in favor of House Bill 507. Do I act like I don't know you, or is it okay to say I know you? Hello, Sherry.
Hello. I was going to rat you out anyway.
Yeah,
so. Hello.
yeah,
my
you
name-
didn't tell me you were on your way down today. All right, please begin, Ms. Witness.
Okay, my name is Sherry Parks. I'm the Livingston County Clerk, but I'm also the president of the Missouri Association of County Clerks and Election Authorities. And I did come and testify when Senator Crawford presented her bill, I believe. And I'll just run through this real quick. I know you've heard a lot of this before. And Representative McGaugh touched on some of it. So it cleans some things up. For example, on the challengers, it allows them to be in the first class counties on election day, well, prior to election day. Currently, with watchers, there's no deadline to submit the list of names, so this would require that. As she stated, as the representative stated, the email, receiving the notices by email just kind of gets us back up to the current day way we do business anymore. moving the deadlines. Currently, the deadlines to file for office for the municipal election is hitting Christmas Day and New Year's Eve. This is going to just move it another week. And I do want to say, a lot of times the schools are used as examples. The schools are closed between Christmas and New Year's. And when you're from an urban area, you might not realize how a lot of entities function in the rural area. People operate out of their homes, fire districts, water districts, township boards. You go to somebody's kitchen table and file, and the last day is Christmas Day, 5 o'clock, you've got to be there, or New Year's Eve, or any of those days in between. So that is a problem that's happening, and we hope to just clear that up. And also, actually, some municipalities are small, and they don't even have city halls in some of these little tiny places. Permanent disability voters should be protected. They are usually shut-ins and living at home alone or in a nursing home, and we do need to take care of them. Provisional ballots, it does get confusing, even to our election workers, because, they work 1 to 3 times a year for you, and they don't understand, well, how come we could use the provisional in one election and not in this one? This will just make it really more consistent. And then the write-ins. The write-ins are so complicated. They're not to everybody. I actually think that the laws, I understand it very well, I feel like. But it is so confusing to some people, election authorities and voters. And we even created a flow chart. It's like, yes column, no column, you just got to follow this down. But basically, if the equal number or more candidates file for the positions available, you have to file to be a write-in, you have to file to be counted. But they just don't comprehend that. And in my own little community, my own county, which is also Senator Black's county, we have a small municipality, and a gentleman filed for mayor, and they didn't end up qualifying for non-election because they had some other positions that were open for write-ins. Well, the mayor candidate died after certification, but not one person from that organization, from that entity, the mayor, current mayor, city clerk, nobody called to say, what do we do? They just assumed everybody that was written in is going to count. None of them counted. I certified that election. A deceased candidate got 2 votes. There were 12 write-ins that showed up on my reports, but we don't report them because none of them were qualified write-ins. Now they don't know what to do. I mean, it just gets so confusing. They just made that assumption. And then I do want to touch on the harassment. And I was here for Senator Berger's presentation of his bill a few months ago, and I have heard the concerns. And I do understand your concerns and the example given for nurses. I mean, nobody wants anybody in that profession to be harassed. The reason I believe that we are bringing this before you at this point is because 5 years ago, we would have never thought we needed this. In the last year, we have had an election authority have to be airlifted to Kansas City because she was sick. She ended up with shingles on her brain. I never even heard of shingles on your brain. We've had another election authority resign just days, less than a week before the August primary, because she started having seizures. These are stress-related issues due to harassment from individuals in their small communities. We have about 15,000 in my community. I know of or know most of those people, and this is turning neighbors against you, and the things that have been happening. We have another election authority who's being escorted to her car by our sheriff's department every day, and so is her staff because of this. These are people who are not elderly. They're in their 40s. They were perfectly healthy, and this is what stress is doing to them due to the harassment they're being given. I will share with you an experience that I had myself in 2020. In November of 2020, I felt like a celebrity to the point it was embarrassing. Everybody will say, oh, great job, got the results in, everything went smoothly. But this went on for weeks. I even told my clerk friends, This is ridiculous. I should be able to go to the grocery store. I'm just doing my job. It's what I do. And the GOP candidate won in my county, as he won in the state. By March, I'm like public enemy number one. What did you do? You're using this equipment. What kind of fraud happened? I was getting all these phone calls from somebody a group had organized, and they're meeting and talking about how things should be improved. And not one of them, I didn't know they even were meeting and they existed until this started happening. And even relatives of mine, well, we trust you, but you know, in Kansas City and St. Louis, I say to them, we all follow the same laws. You may not realize, I see these people multiple times during the year. We are colleagues, we are friends. Our organization is bipartisan. We all feel the need for this. We just do. Things are happening. The media, I believe, is the cause for a lot of it, but bad behavior is also the cause. And people are not running for re-election. They're retiring early from this position. They're not doing that from any other local government position. They are leaving the position. Capable, educated, experienced election authorities are leaving, or and not even not running in the middle of a term. I can't even count how many people have come. I don't know. We've had 5 since January started. That doesn't happen in other county associations. So I am willing to take questions, and I want to say thank you for letting me talk to you today.
Thank you, Sherry. Any questions? Senator Nicola.
Thank you for your testimony today. I certainly want people to be protected. That's for sure. I also have worked as an election worker quite a few times before I was elected myself. And I'm from Jackson County. It's not the safest area of the state, and I've never seen, nor have I even heard of some of the things that you're explaining. And after Senator Berger brought his bill up, I did some research and made some phone calls, and I haven't found the kind of problems that you're mentioning. I'm sure they're out there. It's the way our society is. Our society has gotten worse and worse, and people have gotten ruder, and the hate and all, lashing out. You don't have to be a candidate to figure that one out pretty fast. So my issue is not wanting people to be protected. I do. I'm just wondering why this is now the 3rd time this has come up this session. It seems like it's really being pushed. And what is this going to do more than the laws that we already have? And again, as I mentioned, and also Senator Henderson mentioned to the representative, that giving special classes more protection other than what we already have. So the laws that we currently have on the books, how are they not helping or protecting some of the situations that you mentioned with some of the election authorities? And then how is this going to actually help?
I don't know all of the laws on the books. I do know we have some areas, some offenses set aside in the election law that are Class 3 election offenses, and this, we're just asking to have one more thing added to it. I don't know if having it in there just makes it that election offense along with current law that this would also fall under would maybe just make it a stronger protection for the workers that fall in this category. I don't know. I'm not an attorney, and I don't know that much about that part of the law.
Yeah. So the ones that you mentioned that had some medical issues and some that are quitting, the laws that we already have, are they just inefficient? Why would they not help them?
I don't know that we have any that are like geared toward harassment that would, I don't know that we have any laws that cover that sort of thing.
We do. We have a statute on harassment. It's already there on the books. That's really some of my issue with this is it's not really needed because we already have laws. And when we're talking about the area of election, what I don't want to happen is if I walk in just as a citizen and I see something there that I think might be fraud or might be a problem, that I can't question somebody there without saying, oh, it's harassment. And that's what I want to protect too. That's a freedom of speech issue. So for me, I cannot favor this bill or support this bill with this section in it at all. And so I would just hope we would remove this, or I'm going to oppose it pretty strongly. So thank you very much for your testimony.
Thank you.
Any other questions to the witness? Sherry, as we were discussing this and listening to Senator Nicola, did Cary's home county, did they decide to put deputy in every polling place at the last election? I want to say that happened in that county, which seems ridiculous.
I don't know
in the
that.
fact where I live at, that's where we farm at. But I thought my in-laws said they ended up doing that. You don't know.
I don't
You
know.
know where I'm talking
I
about.
do,
right?
and I don't know that they did that. I can tell you in August of '24, I contacted our local sheriff department just to say, I want you to be aware of all my polling places. There are some election authorities who are even like having a drawn-out diagram and showing the law enforcement where the entrance and exits are. And I just haven't had time to do that, to be quite honest. That as a third-class county clerk, there's just a lot of duties, and I know that's important, but I haven't done that. But I did meet with my sheriff, and I made sure that the staff knew all my polling locations in Livingston County. And I also learned that a very high-profile change of venue, a court case with a change of venue from another county to our county was also happening on Election Day for the entire month of August. In fact, I couldn't use some of my election workers because they were called to jury duty. And I was told by law enforcement, if you call, we can't come. If you call, we cannot come. For one, they were short-staffed, and for two, who they did have on staff had to be in court. And if anything would have happened, they couldn't have even come to help.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
The other thing, and you just reminded me of what you were saying. The other thing about this particular part in it, it's really not going to stop anybody. This is all after the fact. That's another thing, right? It's not going to help really protect anybody because most of the public's not even. If this were to pass, they're not going to know. The people that are causing problems and harassment, they're not even going to know this is on the books, and it's not going to help.
That's why our jails are overflowing today.
Yeah, it's going to be after the fact, and if anything, I think looking for something that we can do to help prevent instead of something like this that's even after the fact. But anyway, thanks.
Thank you, Sherry. Anyone else testify in favor of 507?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Richard Sheets, Missouri Municipal League. I want to go on record in favor of House Bill 507, particularly this section changing the municipal election day where we'll fall on holidays. That's very important to our city clerks, and it's something we've been working on for a number of years. I'll try to answer any questions if I can.
Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else testify in favor, please come forward.
Mr. Chairman, committee members, my name is Pat Kelly, Executive Director of Municipal League Metro St. Louis. Just want to go on record in support of 507, specifically as it relates to the filing dates. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Thank you, sir. One more in favor of.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, Connor Lubert testifying on behalf of the Missouri Voter Protection Coalition. We'd like to go on record in support of this bill and thank the representative for bringing it forward. Our two big areas that we support is the expansion of the provisional ballots and the election worker protection piece. Our full testimony is attached, so I'll just say that we love our poll workers and our LEAs. We want to do anything we can do to help them. So with that, thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Thank you. Anyone else testify in favor? Anyone testify in opposition? Please come forward, state your name, begin.
Hi, Chairman Black and members of the committee. My name is Bev Aylen. I'm with Liberty Link, Missouri, and we're against the part of this bill setting up a special class of election workers. I've been an election worker, election judge for 18 years in St. Louis County, and I've never encountered any of this. So I don't. You guys out there in the rural areas are kind of a tough bunch.
Yeah. Where you're at, there's quite a bit higher class, and there's poor people out in the rural area.
They let me live in Warren County, but we're against creating a special class, even though we are
Sorry,
special.
Henderson. Yeah. Any questions? Thank you. Anyone else testify in opposition? Informational purposes only. Closing comments, Representative.
I appreciate you hearing this bill. I think that the comments are well taken, and I would certainly leave it up to the committee, and if there's a certain part that needs to be changed, I'm open to that. I would like to see the other provisions make it through the body on both sides. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, House Committee Substitute, House Bills 513, 413, and 536. Representative Voss, please begin when you're ready.
Good afternoon, Chair, members of the committee. My name is John Voss, District 147, representing the City of Cape Girardeau. I'm here to present House Committee Substitute for House Bill 513, 413, and 536. This bill would remove the sunset date of September 1st, 2026 for two different delivery methods of design build contracts as well as construction manager at risk that many of our political subdivisions use today. I'd be happy to take any questions.
My first question, and I should be able to pull back the answer somewhere in the back of my brain. We've extended this more than once, right? This isn't the first time we've hit this sunset.
This bill was
correct?
originally passed in 2016, and it was House Bill 2376.
Okay.
I don't know if that was the original establishment of these types of project deliveries, or if that was just establishing the sunset date, sir.
Okay, so we ought to know whether it's going to work or not. Is that what
Right.
you're telling me?
This is similar to Senate Bill 10 that has already passed out of the Senate this year.
Okay, any questions? Thank you. Anyone testify in favor, please come forward.
Afternoon. Susan Henderson Moore testifying on behalf of J.E. Dunn Construction out of Kansas City. Just want to go on record in favor. You guys have all heard the spiel before. Just to clarify, this was the original bill. This is the first time that we're dealing with this sunset. However, it went so swimmingly that a few years ago, the state and the higher education institutions decided they wanted the same capabilities, so it was expanded to them as well. Make sense?
Thank you.
All right.
Any questions? Thank you. Testify in favor.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, Richard Sheets, Missouri Municipal League. I'd like to go on record in support of House Bill 513. It's an important tool, and it works our local communities in the state, and I think it's time to remove the sunset. I'll answer any questions.
Any questions? Thank you, sir. Now, testify in favor. Please come forward.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. For the record, James Harris, representing Nabholz Construction, to go on the record in support of the construction manager at risk contracting method. You know, the states removed this sunset. This just removes the sunset for political subdivisions. It's kind of a win-win for everyone. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions of the witness? Thank you, James. Anyone else testify in favor, please come forward.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Lynn Schlosser. I'm a registered lobbyist for Missouri Public Utilities Alliance, as well as for the Kansas City Builders, AGC of Kansas City. We'd like to go on record in support of the bill. I'd also like to mention that Fred Dreiling is testifying in another hearing right now, but Burns McDonald has also filled out their application or their witness form online, and they want to go on record in support. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Thank you very much. Testify in support.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Tricia Workman here today on behalf of the Associated General Contractors of Missouri. I'd like to thank the sponsor and the committee for hearing this and go on record in support.
Any questions? Thank you. Anyone else testify in support? Opposition? Informational purposes only. Representative Voss, closing.
Appreciate the chance to present this. This bill did pass out of the House, 137 ayes with 1 no and 0 present. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you very much. Okay, committee. Anybody got any open discussion on microphone? Otherwise, I have a second to adjourn. We're adjourned.